here 10 years ago for a reunion, and then thus led to thus, and so and so. And we came here. He has been instrumental in everything. We would not all be here tonight if it weren't for Mr. Lloyd Coleman. It's true. It's absolutely true. And just from a very fundamental scale, we have our airline tickets, because I was a flight attendant with him for Northwest Airlines. That's a very fun, small world story. That's another one. But the hotel and the flight alone, it has been an incredible discount, let alone everything that is going on with us now, and all the little details that have been included in this. I can't believe it. I can't believe what he's accomplished. So we have a very special gift. It's very small. It's very tiny and minor compared to what this man has done in over a year. And I want to tell you, every once in a while, he lives in Southern California and I live in Northern California. I was on the committee with, I'd say, Lloyd, I'm going to, it's already done, it's already taken care of. It's already done, it's already taken care of, over and over and over again. This man. What can I do? What can I do? One small token gift from all of us who love you so much. We love you. We're a very special group of people. We're a very special group of people.
Wow.
Could you open that?
I can. Can I open it?
Yeah.
This would not be happening without him.
He lied.
What's it say?
Okay, I've been asked to read it. Oh, I don't have glasses. Thank you. Love the ASRE Group 2010. And thank you, this means a lot.
It's an ID
That's
bracelet.
beautiful.
So he'll know who he is.
Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. This means a lot. I'll get back to this. I'll get back to this in a minute. I'm just kind of speechless at the moment. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Susan. I'm a little thrown. I love you too. It really is my great pleasure tonight that through the help. Oh, by the way, I mentioned one other person and I forgot. So I have to stop everything and say, Wally, would you come up here for me? Wally Fitzgerald. Wally's a well-known man at ASP. And he was the last one here, one of the last ones here. He decided to go another route, like Wally usually will. Wally, thank you for all of you done, Mr. Communications Man, who helped East Coast meet West Coast in this reunion, did an awful lot of bird dogging as well, and is responsible for the man that we're about to introduce to you in just a moment. So I wanted to recognize Wally with this bill. And the man ambassador to Laos. Please keep this for a moment. I'm going to turn the floor over to you and ask you what are we doing in Laos today?
Thank you very much. Wow. Good evening, lady. This is really a tremendous opportunity for my wife Barbara and I to attend this reunion. When I heard from Wally, I don't remember exactly when it was, a couple of months ago, that ASB students would be coming back to Laos for the first time in many years, I was really, really thrilled to know that that was going to happen. And thank you so much for letting me join you tonight. I really, really appreciate that. So is my wife Barbara. I'd like to thank Lloyd Coleman for all the work that he's done, obviously, in organizing this. I can't provide the recognition that you all have done, but obviously he's done a tremendous job, so thank you for that. And also, Wally Fitzgerald, who was, in fact, the person who contacted me and let me know that you were coming. It's really wonderful to see so many people who have this shared bond, this common experience of having lived in Laos, having attended ASB, or in some cases taught at ASB, mentored many of the people that are in the room tonight. I think we all have a shared bond. One shared bond is having had that ASB experience and having lived together and lived here in Laos. But I think we also have another shared bond, which is a link that we all feel. And I think you must feel it too, or you wouldn't be here tonight. And that's a link with the Lao country and the Lao people. And the wonderful smiles of the Lao, I'm sure, make you feel right at home when you come back here. When we were in Laos, it was a very different period from the period that we're in now. It was a period of conflict. It was a period of war. I'm saddened to hear that Lloyd's father perished in that war. I'm sure many of our loved ones have perished in that war. And we're still, in some ways, both living through the legacy of the conflict, but we're also benefiting in some ways. The way that I feel that we benefited as a country is the presence of so many Lao Americans in the United States, who left at the time of tragedy and the time of conflict, but contributed so much to our country. And I think we're all better for that. In the last 35 years, since 1975, you can see for yourselves this country has changed tremendously. Somebody was mentioning to me that this was the beach. This is where people came to swim in the Mekong, and now we have this hotel. But in some ways, a lot hasn't changed. This is still a country that is physically very beautiful. It has warm, charming people. And it's also still a very poor country, although they're making great progress in trying to achieve their development goals. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I just want to very quickly, because I hope that some of you are interested in what the United States is doing here in Laos. I think we all know that there's a saying in Asia that many of you, I'm sure, have heard, that when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. And in many ways, that's relevant to Laos, because Laos is in an area, part of the world that, fortunately, has spent about the last 30, 35 years relatively free of conflict. But they are surrounded by big countries, much bigger, much more powerful countries. And I think it's in the U.S. interest, our strategic interest, to help Laos to continue to maintain its independence, to integrate within the regional structures of ASEAN, to join into the world economy through organizations like the World Trade Organization, to benefit from more exposure to the outside world, more opportunities for investment, more opportunities for trade, more opportunities for everybody in this country, we hope, over time, to benefit and improve their quality of life. For many years, the U.S.-Lao relation was characterized by what I would call issues that were the legacy of the war. Probably one that most of us are most familiar with is the fullest possible accounting of the American servicemen who remains have not been found. And for many years, the Lao have cooperated very closely with us. We run a number of recovery activities every year, run by U.S. Pacific Command, which we send teams out with Lao officials, both to excavate known crash sites and to do investigations to find those sites that remain unknown to us. Since we began this process, at the end of the war, there were 572 Americans who were missing in Laos. That number changes a little bit because some of the casualties took place right on the border, and over the years, the determination with some cases in Laos and some in Vietnam. But we have identified and returned to their families the remains of about 230 Americans. Another legacy of war, which is still taking a toll on the Lao people, is the unexploded ordnance. As I think everyone knows, this is the most heavily bombed country per capita. The United States has worked very, very hard over the years to help allow deal with this sad legacy of war. People still die from accidental encounters with UXO, and it has an impact on productivity. People can't farm land that's contaminated with UXO. It's a drag on agriculture. and it's still taking a toll. But we continue to help, as do a lot of other countries, in trying to remove the ordinance, especially from those areas that are where people want to live and people want to work, and also to provide assistance to some of the victims, as many as we can. Another legacy issue that's not directly related to the war, but dates to the war and even before the war, many years before the war, is counter narcotics. We've worked very hard with Laos to deal with the scourge of opium, and more recently methamphetamine, most of which is produced in neighboring Burma, trafficked through Laos to some of it goes to the United States, not so much of the methamphetamine, but some of the opium. But the meth is taking a very serious toll on people in this country and throughout the region. But more recently, we've expanded our relationship. I think there's a lot now that the United States is willing to do and is prepared to do. For many years, we were constrained not just by the legacy of those legacies I mentioned, but another one, which is directly related to the refugee issues. There have been many Lao American, Hmong American, ethnic Lao American, and others who have chosen to, choose my word carefully, I guess, to not support the development of a bilateral relationship with this country for many reasons. And I'm sure their motivations are genuine. And I've talked to many of them in my travels around the United States to meet with Lao Americans. But that said, in the last few years, we've increased tremendously our cooperation. As I said earlier, this is still a very poor country. People live in extreme poverty up in the mountains, other areas. Vientiane, you can see the progress that's taking place, but that's not universal in this country. So we're working in areas like medical cooperation. We're trying to help sustain the economy, try to open the economy through technical assistance. We're trying to expand trade. Recently, we've also reached out to develop a relationship between the Lao military and the U.S. military, which was severed pretty much in 1975, although we've had some MIA recovery as part of it, but more through our defense attaché's office. The reason for that is in part because we would like to influence this country to change, to move forward with economic liberalization, to move forward in a political process. And one of the two institutions that's most resistant to change in this country is the military and the other security forces. So we're trying to reach out to them. On human rights, you may be interested to, I'm sure you probably followed the news that there's recently a number of Hmong American communities, especially the Hmong American communities. Many of them have relatives that were in camps in Thailand and then returned. And they want to know what's happened. They want to know what happened to their relatives when they come back. And we're encouraging working with Laos to be more transparent, to be more forthcoming, so that we can go back to the families, we can go back to the U.S. Congress, and we can say, yes, we've had access, we know what's happening. Laos are cooperating. And they are beginning to do that. But fundamentally, the message I'd like to leave with you, this is a country that I think is important to the United States. I think we have an interest in reaching out to the Lao government, to engage with the Lao government, the Lao people through foreign assistance, particularly in the areas of health and education. Education is still very poor in this country, and we need to do more in that area. I think person-to-person relationships are fundamental, and I really would like to thank you all tonight for your interest in Laos, for coming here to share experiences, share the good times, the old times. I've already, a lot of memories have come back to me, things that I hadn't thought about in a long time, and I'm certainly hopeful that you will all have that experience as well. So thank you very much for coming. Enjoy yourselves here. If there's anything our embassy can do to help you in the next day or two, please don't hesitate to ask. But I'd like to just point out Shannon Dorsey, our public diplomacy officer, who's been instrumental in helping make the contact. So once again, upside up.
This is for you and Mrs. Shiso. Lao traditional way. That real symbol that he is after all alumni. See, this next thing here is really, really special. You know, charity is the rent that we all have to pay for our space on Earth. And When I heard about the projects that this lady is involved with, well, my mother knew her. I'm not trying to age her at all. But she's been in Laos, not quite as long as Frank Manley, but she's been here a long time, and she sent me some DVDs about some of the work that they do here with the women's group. It's also something my mother was involved in. And when I was thinking about what could we do as a group when we come back to be, to be good to Laos, when we come back to Laos. And I thought, okay, we'll find something. My first idea to paint an orphanage or do something like that. Maybe we just go volunteer some time. I do a lot of volunteer work at home, so that's just my mindset. So I started researching, and I found it came all back to our family friend Penny Kunta, who is still here in Laos, and working with the women's group and a group called the Lantern Project. And you all know about this project. I'm very happy to tell you tonight that through the little projects that we've all had in our hometown, some in Massachusetts, some in California, some in Virginia, some in North Carolina, little things that everybody did, just those little things amounted up to, oh my gosh, let me see if I do this right, because we're going to say it in kit, not dollars. It sounds so much better. It's a good amount of money, and I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart, but I have to find out how much kit this is. On behalf of all your good work and your charity and the rent you're paying for your space on earth, we'd like to present Penny Kunta for all the work she's done and for all the charity work you've done. And I hope you'll come up and tell us a little bit about it if you'll just come take this 140 million kit. Is that a good job? Okay. Okay. And you can tell us why you're doing this and what we're going to get from it.
I've been a member of the WIG, Women's International Group of the American Women's Club, and then there were about 400 families, 400 American women working in a club, and now there are not so many, or in 1993, there were not very many foreign women and very few Americans. And so we have the International Women's Club now with women from, and men, although it's still called the Women's International Group, more than 200 members from more than 30 different countries. And we have a very big fundraiser. You can remember the Christmas Bazaar when you were a kid. You go to the Christmas Bazaar and buy things for Christmas. But we have a Christmas Bazaar, but Santa Claus doesn't come anymore. He did up to a number of years ago. He used to come with a suit. But now we have a bazaar in November, and it's our major fundraiser of the year. And what we do is we have our policy is pretty much helping needy women and children, and we do that in two ways, through education and through health. And Lloyd mentioned the Lantern projects, and this is an organization that is started by the former superintendent of schools in the town that I live in California, and I was introduced to her. And so when people make a donation through her, she's established a 501c3 organization, which means you can get a letter and you can make a deduction on your taxes. And when I go back once or twice a year, I get the money from her, and I bring it back, and so there are no transfer fees, and it goes directly to the Women's International Group. And with that money, we do two things. One big project that takes place usually in the January, February, sometimes the outreach into March and April is with medical. And I think that's project number 80 with the Lantern Projects. Because Lantern Projects, they help in countries all over the world raising money for all different kinds of things. But we have one, I think it's project number 80, which we set up primarily for our education group. So In January, the Netherlands group Bridge the Gap comes. It's a burn team. And Interclass Australia will be here later this month. It's also a burn team. Before it was mostly doing cleft lip, cleft palate, but they also doing a lot with burn victims too. So the people that come are very poor people. They come from all over the country. They borrowed money from their relatives to come to Vientiane, and we help them at the hospital. And so they don't have much money. So what the Women's International Group does is give the patient and a caregiver a daily food stipend. Because in the hospitals, there's no food, and actually the team that comes will pay for their room while they're there. And then we also give them round-trip transportation. So when they go back home, they can pay back the people that they borrowed the money from. That's our health project. And we do it that way because if you start helping just one person with a chronic illness, all your money's gone right away. So we try and help that way through other groups. The other thing we do, which is my biggest pleasure, is education. And we build schools, we build classrooms, we build toilets, we built 3 stalls last year, or 3 buildings of 4 stalls each. I mean, you can believe it. Out there in these schools with high school students, they don't even have any bathrooms. I said, well, how about the teachers? Oh, the guy, it's always, not always, 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100 of the headmasters are men. Oh, well, you know. I said, what do women do? Oh, well, you know. Anyhow, so it's helping the women teachers, because they're all women teachers, the man's the director, and the kids, and these high school students. They stop going to school because you go in the morning, you don't drink anything, you don't dare drink anything. What are you going to do? And you go home, and then it results in kidney disease and all kinds of things, and people stop going to school, girls. So we try and help them out. We build classrooms. Now, what they've done in Laos this year is very, very significant. They've gone from 11 years of education to 12. What they did, they added they had more 1, 2, 3, and they've added Modium 4. So then it's going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because the primary is 5 years. So what happens is those students who are in their 11th grade of education this year are going to come back next year, but there are no classrooms. So it's a really big problem. The country needs about 2,000 more classrooms. But the Women's International Group only helps out in Vientiane province, and we're not going further than we can drive because there's no overhead. When people take their cars and they drive and they fill it with their own gasoline and they spend their own time. So all the money that is given to the Women's International Group, 100% of it goes to school, goes to people, and any photocopying we need to do or anything, we pay for it ourselves, not out of money that's been donated to us. And so we built, I don't know how many classes, 6 at Pongan, 6 at, we'll finish schools, we'll put on the roofs, we get a proposal, this is what we do, and then we go to the school, we meet the headmaster, we see what he wants, we see how needy they are, if they have 20 kids to a classroom, we don't build them anymore. But when they have 75, and it's a high school, we try and add a few classrooms. Then we look at their proposal, what size of the classrooms they want, how many bricks do they say they need. I know that they only need 60 bricks per square meter, so I can figure out if they're asking for the right number, too many, too few, how many bags of cement, everything. And so we come up with a proposal that they agree with and figure out what the costs are, and what we do is give them the money. They have to come up with the labor themselves. If they don't have skilled people to do it or people that are available to do it, include the village headman, and he's got to promise to assess everybody in the village a certain amount of money so they can hire people to build the school. So when they build these schools, they own the schools, and so They really take good care of them. And that's what the Women's International Group does. And I'm very happy to be a part of it. I'm on the welfare committee, and I have been on the welfare committee since I taught at the Vientiane International School till 2003. So I didn't have any time, because you spend a lot of time going to the school and meetings and endless. And but it's really a very rewarding and wonderful thing to do, and helping these people. I just love it, and to meet people and meet the teachers. And then afterwards, you always have a big party, and you eat loud food and dance and have a little loud beer, and it's fun. So, on behalf of the Women's International Group, thank you for your 100 and what, 4 million? Yeah, 40 million. Question.